Hello and welcome to the Save Our Sperrins podcast, Voices from the Frontline. This podcast comes to you from the Sperrin Mountains in Northern Ireland. It's a place shaped by land, by community and by long memory. And it's now living with growing pressure from mining and large-scale upland development. That pressure isn't unique to here. Across the world, the so-called energy transition is driving ever more extraction. There's growing demand for critical minerals and rare earth metals, and that demand is landing on local communities, asking them to live with the long-term impacts of toxic mining. Season 1 looked at why the Sperrins Mountains matter through the voices of the people who live here and know this place well. Season 2 keeps those local voices at the centre, while also stepping back a bit. In Season 2, we look at extractivism more broadly, how it's been justified, how it is fundamental to a system of accelerated growth, plundering ever more from a finite planet, designed only to feed predatory capitalism, creating untold and unprecedented misery simply to support the bottom line of a balance sheet in some distant glass-wall boardroom far from the ground we're standing on. Thanks for listening, and let's begin. How you doing, Cahal?
Very good.
And thanks a million for agreeing to come on the podcast with me here this evening.
No, I know what.
Could you give us a little bit about yourself? How long have you been here in Greencastle? Were you born and reared here, or?
I born and reared here. Family's been here for generations, so this house here, like this house maybe done 300 years or so, like so. This is our family home, goes right back, so this where I've been all the time.
Right. I didn't actually realise that your ancestors stretched that far back, you know, and that's kind of nice. It gives, you really are indigenous or native to the place, you know. So what's it like to live here?
Very nice, hey. It's just very close-knit community, like. It was always, whatever, if you ever needed anything, your neighbours were always there for you. Like, it was always just, there was never ever any thought of it. Like, you know, your neighbours were there to support you in any time of need or whatever you needed, like, and you were there for them. Like, that's just the way the community was here. Like, and it was just a nice, close-knit community, just.
And you do a bit of farming. Was your father before you a farmer? Or?
He was farmer too and a postman.
Okay.
Right. And this actually would have been the post office, going back a fair wee while. And then between that, the surgery was here for a few years as well. The doctor come here every Friday. So there'll be a bit of history about this house here too, like, you know, so.
Oh, yeah. Really embedded in the community.
All right, it would have been, you know, so. Out here, my neighbours older, not many much older than me now, but telling about, like, there used to be a phone up in the corner of that room there, and that is for telegrams, whenever there wouldn't have been another phone in the country, you know.
Right.
So there's a fair wee bit of stuff to it now at the end of the day, like, you know.
You would have heard a bit of news coming and going through that telegram system.
There certainly was. I do remember even myself being sent with telegrams on a bicycle to houses, like, you know.
Yeah. Oh, that's going back to too.
Well, some maybe not so good, like, you know.
Sure.
Some of them would have been probably letters from America or whatever, like, you know, calls from America just to whatever, and they wouldn't have been calling unless there was something wrong, like.
Yeah. Was there many of you reared here in the house?
I have had 3 sisters. One of them was actually killed out on the road there. She was only 8 years of age. So I have 2 sisters, just myself here. So
okay, right.
I've been.
And you're also a plumber by trade, and do you work locally or where do you work?
Just cover all over, hey, everywhere. Just as far as Cork, like, you know, just anywhere. Would be just wherever we get the call, hey, that's it, like, you know, you just go.
Yeah, it's lucky we live in an island, maybe.
It's certainly, like, you know, even, like, we would have branched out, we did some work in England way back, you know, but no, I'm trying to keep it closer and closer as we get older and older, like.
Yeah, wise man. And what sort of farming do you do? You do a bit of farming, don't you?
I have a couple of calves there, and we just keep a couple of wildlife stock, and that's it. Just it's rare breeds more now than anything. Not just
nothing too
pastime
serious.
more.
Yeah,
it's
bit of a hobby.
Aye,
yeah, nice thing to do, though.
It certainly is indeed.
Yeah.
Certainly is.
And so with the mine up above, and when big projects come to a place like this and people start drilling and breaking up the rock underground, it's kind of like changing the pipework for the water. And even if we can't see it, what does that set off in your head?
I do know it takes very little to disturb the whole waterworks. I would sort of work at doing water filters and stuff too, so I do know where the whole thing's going at the minute with the water. And for this year, they'll be happening, they'll really around here looking about wells and stuff. And would have sort of set off bells at the start, if we have a well up in the upper field there, and they were looking about it, and everybody then was talking about they're looking at everybody's wells. So we're all getting fairly concerned about it,
Mm-hmm. Why do you think we're looking?
Well, it's just we do know there's going to be a massive demand in water. It's just absolutely mind blowing the amount of water these people need.
Right. Okay. And so them taking water for their processing of the rock and the ore will cause sort of pressure changes. So from you as a plumber, when pressure changes happen in piping, and if you could make that much bigger in magnitude to pressure changes happen on the ground, what usually gives first, if you had pressure changes in a plumbing system?
I don't know what way they were going to go about the water in the lines here would be drained out. It wouldn't be fit for what their purpose was at all, so there would be serious situations, we do have troubles now and again of water just in this area without it being abused.
Oh, really?
Right.
So,
takes very little more and we are on the limit. Every Sunday morning, you see the water board fans on the road, and they're I know we're just on the limit of having what we have, keeping it right at the minute,
And where does our water come from? Where does your water here?
They're all, as far as I know now, they're all connected. All the main reservoirs is connected because one can give bother and you have to pump it from one to the other.
Right.
So as far as I know now, I don't know a wild pile about.
Yeah.
Not I know it, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I didn't realise it was a bit tight here, the water as it is, without any additional industry using it up. That's kind of interesting. Do many people, I know everyone's on mains, but are there many wells around the place?
Oh, there certainly is. There's a lot of people now who would have even done more wells.
Okay, for their own water.
For their own water,
All right, okay. Yeah.
One of the first things with reservoir awareness, the whole thing was where there was ones out walking up there, and there's a big pond up there. And this is whenever Dalradian would have been doing boreholes, and that pond had turned red. And that's a long time ago. I mind us contacting the fishermen. It was very hard to get anybody to listen to it. Way back at the start, nobody, it was a distant thing. So we bought enough, but anybody who come to see it was fairly surprised.
Mm-hmm.
And there's one saying, I'm no scientist, tell it, but whenever they're boring through all the different veins. So whenever they pegged it at the top, it was letting a lot of them veins mix with it,
Okay.
So as far as I know now, that's what it would come to that time, that's what that. And the mix of the water. So
so it would have gone down through the water table.
The water table, and then your mineral table, and just all the different tables, and that's just a big hole just bored down through the earth. And then the bung the top of it.
Right.
So, you can imagine what that would mix through.
Right.
It wouldn't.
And then, therefore, turned this pond, as when you mean red, I suppose,
It was like a
iron
red
colour, was it? Like iron ore or something
like an
that?
iron ore. We couldn't believe it now. There was one of the fishermen there from Cahal come down to see it, like. And
did it stay like that, or did it change again over time, or?
It's not near as bad as it was now, like, definitely not. Like, at that particular time, they were just finished drilling, like, at that time, finished a few months, like.
Yeah.
So it just settled again, like,
It's so interesting, that, and, they wouldn't drill on that long or whatever, and that amount of damage is caused in that short time. So one wonders what's going to happen to all the wells around the place.
Aye. The wells, the water, everything, like, there's no end to what's going to be if they got their way with it,
There's many times you'd be called out to a plumbing problem in a domestic property, or maybe in a business or something like that, and what causes you the most problems? The long, slow leak that's been going on for years, or a sudden flood of water, the
long, slow leak is the worst type, because it does the harm. Like, if you get it quick, like, it'll not be too bad,
Yeah.
The flood's easier sorted out, like, than the slow drip now. It does harm in houses, like, I have to say that, like.
Yeah. So, if we just put that up in the mine underground, we have all these liners, and we've got all these pipes, and we've got all these connections and so on. And we won't know there's a problem until it appears above the ground.
Mm-hmm.
Well, how would you feel about that as a...
Hey, that's 100% going to happen, like. I said to somebody the other day, like, if they had it going ahead at the start without anybody stopping them before any of the rest of them, it's before I even got involved. If the mining had been let go that time, it now would be looking maybe 5 years left, and we'd be getting ready, and the councils will be getting ready to start cleaning up after them.
Yeah.
So the whole thing would be over, and it'd be just clean up a mess from now on. The work would be all whatever work they promised, like.
Yeah.
They promised a pile of work.
Right.
And I know the work wouldn't be there, but, like, saying you had this big imagination there was work.
Yeah.
And all them people was there, and it was over now in 5 years' time.
Right.
Well, if that was your children's working on it, they would be moving on again.
Yeah.
And the families would be all split up again. And what would be left behind here, now, and I'm only, like, it's only 5 years till it'll be finished from now, if they had it going. So the governments now, then, in 5 years' time, would be starting to do a clean up here, and have to do the clean up forevermore.
Yeah.
And the mining would be gone.
Yeah.
So, as far as I see it, was just a false economy.
Yeah, we're left with the risk, and we're left with the expense on a yearly basis.
Yeah.
So, in your opinion, when you get clean water, mixing with dirty water, maybe something in a plumbing job goes AWOL, is it difficult to separate it again? Do you know?
Well, in my situation, it probably wouldn't be near as bad, but here, the seeping would be probably coming from, like, whenever you see where all the dumps are going to be here, like, the very start to come out, like, and there's dumps right around us here, and they were going to start dumping.
What do you mean by dumps?
Dumps from the mine, from the waste.
Yeah, okay.
They're going to use quarries, they're going to use different places to put this waste, and I showed it out in the first plans, like, and they go right around our house here. Like, and that's always going to be there, and it's always going to be seeping away. Like, compared to, like, it'll be a difference in me at a house. Like, you can get it stopped. But this here is never ever. Like, it's going to be in generations. Like, there's children, like.
Yeah. And does that annoy you?
It really does. It really does. I wasn't into this at all. I was chair of the Sperrins Wheelers whenever this whole thing started. And I'd have been out in the bike one day, and one of the boys said to me about it, and I passed no remarks on it, just brushed it off, like, let's hear people on about it. But I went to a meeting over there, and there was a woman over there in the pub that night, and there was a queue 30 deep to get to see about jobs, which I had a few men employed at the time. Thought it'd be handy getting to work around here. And it was work I went over to see them about. And there's about 30 deep, and there's no point in lining up, so I spoke to this old woman and asked her, what do you do anyway? And she says, I'm involved with the breaking down of the rock and all. And I said to her, just like, what way do you break the rock down? And she says, we use flotation tanks and we use cyanide for breaking the rock down, and the gold sinks down, whatever way it was, and then went. And a week before that, I was watching the news, and that Russian spy was killed in London. It showed a picture of him, still minded, he was lying in the bed, and he got a teaspoonful or stuff put on his tea, and he was killed. And I says, is that the same stuff that killed your
Russian boy?
Russian boy? And she just nodded her head, and I said, that wouldn't be good for here.
Yeah.
And that was all. It was documented that night where the cyanide processing plant was and all. And after that, they'd taken that all away. They'd taken it all away from that was done away with the paperwork.
Right.
There was a meeting in Ruski the next night, and there's no word.
Where? Just for our listeners?
5 or 6 miles down the road.
Okay.
Ruski or Goit, I can't mind exactly. And it was taken out of all the paperwork. The cyanide was. Right. So there was no. When I come home here and I said to Genesis, there's going to use cyanide. It'll be daft, have a bit of sense. They can't use that. And we said we'd say nothing for a couple of weeks, and got stuck in, and she did all the studying of it. And it was mind blowing, and all the stuff. Like, and I'd be telling people, just look into it. All the stuff she looked up, there wasn't one good story of it.
Yeah.
Just like, and that's just look up. Asked for good things about gold mining, like.
Yeah.
But she couldn't, nothing. It was just all blank, bang, bang, bang.
All bad news for local communities.
So then whenever that there happened, we obviously got on board, and started to fight the fight,
Yeah, and that's where it went from there.
It went from there now. It was pretty rough at the start now, because, you see, I was the chair of the big club that time, but I got a few rundowns. I got a hit and run. So
what do you mean?
Hit and run. I got hit with a van on the road, and
by
one of the workers.
Was it intentional?
Yeah, it was intentional, and I had reported to the police, but didn't push the case.
Okay.
So that put me off. I had to quit the bike. I wasn't fit to go out on the bike anymore, because I was putting the rest of the lads in jeopardy.
Yeah.
So it went a wee bit rough at the start, like that,
Right.
So
when did anything else happen to you?
I would have been. I was hospitalised twice.
In relation to the campaign?
Yep.
Go on.
And I was. The police would have come here with third-party death threats to me as well.
Say that again.
The police would have come here with third-party death threats.
Right. Okay. Credible. Yeah.
There was 3 of us got them. I wasn't just myself, like, So
okay.
So there was a bit of. But it's been good crack too. Like, don't get me wrong, but it was pretty rough at the start, like,
Yeah, yeah.
But
that must have caused you a fair bit of anxiety.
It really wasn't good. It really wasn't good at the time. I think back now at it, and you think you were in a dream, because things was that tense at the time, like,
Yeah.
And you were a different person. You were a different animal that time. You just, the whole thing, it went upside down, like, your whole life, you couldn't believe it, like.
And here in the village, what's the general feeling about it, in your opinion?
General feeling, see that particular time we were doing it, like, I mind us up there, and we were out walking that road every night. There's people on that road wouldn't have tried to hit you now, but they would have driven real past you real fast, like, sparking water up, and you wouldn't have, they were neighbours, they still wouldn't have hit you, but they were on the other side. And I found some of them actually, because we didn't fight with them, we tried to educate, and we did educate.
Mm-hmm.
And we found out what them people trying to run us down on the road or just fly past us was actually on the bus to Dublin to support us.
That's so interesting, isn't it? So they turned.
Education's, if people does learn, like, and that's what I be telling people all the time, just dig in and have a wee look, like, and see what good's coming out of it. Like, there's other people. Now, that's the main. While other people has changed their thoughts because of what has happened, and have educated themselves, and there's a lot of very smart people educating people. And it was brainwashing at the start what the radio was doing, like there's jobs, money, gold. Like they picked this wee picture of a lorry going over the hill with a load of gold on it, and they're going to throw it off on the way past. But, people soon seen through it. Now there is very few people would be for it. Very few.
Yeah.
I mean, it's very, very few. And some of the people was for it still. I can't believe they're for it, because I said to them, like, these people was from this area, like, why are they so eager to get given the gold away, like,
Uh-huh.
And I can't get it into my head, but then other people will tell you, like, they're always fond of the pound.
Yeah.
And they might have
always get that in
they
people.
could have been always taking the pound, like, you don't know.
Yeah.
So that's the way we would have figured it out on it, like, But, but still, as you know yourself, like, it's been good crack days down there, like, too. You had to have a bit of crack with it. But that's one good thing come out of it. Hey, we've learned how to release ourselves and enjoy ourselves a wee bit. We've learned about history. We're back to, neighbours helping all out again. I think it is desperate times make strong people. Like.
Yeah. Sure does. So let's just move the conversation in a little different direction. So the heart of the campaign, there's a little caravan parked up the road there.
Uh-huh.
Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Hey, same as that. Hey, it's one of those things that just things seems to happen a bit here, and very little we know about it.
Uh-huh.
But it just appeared overnight, hey, and it's going strong. It's going strong ever since. Hey, I've even lost track in days, like, but people thought it had been day 1, day 2, day 3, and caravan gone, but like it's thousands of days now, like, so.
And where is it parked, or what land is it parked on? Or
it's parked on a site up there. It was supposedly going to be a building site for a house. It was a wee bit red, and what the people actually would have used that wee bit of ground was for parking there. Whenever they were going up to the Mass Rock and doing the rosary and whatever.
Uh-huh.
And then what happened was then Dalradian moved in and wired it off and put rocks on there just so you couldn't get in and out. So the people actually stopped them from getting to the Mass Rock, like doing the prayers. Well, they could have walked farther, like, but it was very handy just for elderly people to park up there and just landed up to the Mass Rock. But what they had done was they had closed it off to stop people getting up. And the next to it then, in the other side of the wire, this caravan just appeared that night before or whatever. And it just kept growing from there. Like, nobody could figure out how it just appeared in the middle of the night.
So, got in behind the rocks?
It was in behind the rocks, it was just right in the middle of the
fairies,
site.
Was it?
Fairies, There is some rare happenings up here, all right, It really has. I always used to be down about it when I was a child, but I've lived through a lot of it at the minute.
And there's also a couple of caravans in a tree, or one caravan in a tree.
There was indeed, There was indeed, They talked about the served notices on it to take the caravans away. one of the caravans was absolutely, it was just, you couldn't hardly sit in it. Hey, there was a big hole out of the side of it. That was the first, and then another one come. And then they were going to evict them too. They served letters or something. I don't know what, whether they got them in or not. The letters in properly or not. I don't know what happened. But as somebody else comes up with this mad idea, if a caravan's not on the ground, they can't be evicted. So
if a caravan is not on the ground,
right,
it can't be evicted.
So it had just appeared too overnight, and it was absolutely mad. Like, you know, if
So
I don't know if you were ever in,
not one up on the tree? Yeah, I think it was. All right.
There was maybe 15 in it one night, an accordion and a fiddle, and the water was dripping off the roof with condensation. I swear to God, it was absolutely mental. It was mental, I swear to God. There was a set of stairs up till it, and also there was that thing. But it was totally out of it. Like, you know, I just, that's the type of things that keep you going again. You know, it was settle us down a wee bit again. But
so then now we're talking about 3 caravans on the one side.
3 caravans on that side, yeah.
Right, okay. And when did the first of them go in? Like, how far back?
Hey, it's what, 3,000 and some days now.
All right.
It's on the, whatever, the blog started the day the caravan went in.
Okay.
Day one.
So that's the GPO blog on Facebook. Yeah. And you just mentioned some there, I want to go back to it, the Mass Rock. So am I right in saying the Mass Rock is a traditional place where people would have gone to Mass during the penal times?
That's exactly
Mass was banned, or the Catholic religion was banned.
That would have been exactly it.
And that tradition kept up until this very day.
Yep, it wouldn't be died. It'd be visited. People would visit them now and again, you know.
Yeah.
So they would.
And there's also a statue near there as well.
Is that right? Yep.
And when did that come, or how did that arrive?
Same thing again. These they talk about the fairies still life. I tell you, it's absolutely mental up here the way things does happen. Like, you know, you just land up and it's all there again. Like, you know, words doesn't explain some of the things that happen around here, to be honest with you. But I have to say, like, from Our Lady went up there, like, we would have had none but good luck.
Right. Yeah. It brought its own blessings.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And why not?
It really did. It did that. Nice, so it did. She nearly left us. We thought we could walk on water, right? And we really did. We were really lucky, for the amount of different things what has happened to us, and that's it. Like, you know.
Yeah.
It's just been a.
Oh, that's fantastic.
So.
And then further down the Green Road there was the original house that was leased or sold down right in. Yeah. Do you want to tell us a little bit about that house?
That house would have been booked out regular. It was, if anybody has been up and seen it, it was absolutely beautiful place. You would have travelled the world to see the like of it, you know. It was a wee private place up there. Charlie had owned it here. He would have been looking horses of us to actually go up to people, maybe what was up there, you know. Just it was just, you know, it's unbelievable just where it was and setting of it and the way it was kept, you know. And that's why I can't understand myself again, like what changed people's minds, like, you know. Such a gem up there, like, you know, what you create yourself is the most important thing in life, like, you know. It's not what somebody else creates. And I can't figure out, like, you know, what come over them to let it go, like. Honestly, unreal, absolutely amazing place,
Yeah, it is. It's very beautiful. I've been there a few times, and it's just such a shame. It's been lost.
It is, yeah.
It's such a shame. It
is.
Yeah.
You know.
And coming back down then to where the caravans, was it this summer, there was a bit of a gathering, and there was these listening devices appeared.
Oh, that's right.
Down at the caravans.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The landed out, already and again, they don't, there's no thinking on them, that's what makes them so unsafe. They haven't got a clue what they're doing, They just throw money at stuff and make it work. Like, this is what their thoughts is. Like, so they come up with this great idea, right? We'll throw a lot of cameras in here. No planning, nothing about them, nothing right about them at all. I don't know if the footage was going back to some of the Dalradian workers. We don't know what type of people them people is. Did they go through any checks to see what type of people they were, what was watching these cameras? Like, it was totally, but that's what Dalradian does. They fire a pile of money at something and hope it'll work.
Yeah.
But it's just a total muck up again of their own. Like, they're our best fucking fighters. They make that big of a bollocks themselves that much of the time. Like.
And how did you respond? What did you do about the cameras? Or
same thing again. We landed up the next morning, and there was an emoji over the top of one of them, big smiley face on them. That was terrible. There was children coming from far and near to see this emoji now, with a big smiley face on them. And it was just one of those other things, like, that you would have
How big were these cameras?
Well, one of them was fairly tall, like, but the other one was the size of a wee emoji. Like, it was a 4 foot high and like a 4 foot thing round it. Like, like it was just, it really did look the part. It would made you happy passing it nearly, rather than. So, then it turned out they didn't have nothing right again, either.
Yeah.
So they've nothing right on putting cameras in, putting fencing up. What would they get right in the mining?
That's right. You
know what I mean? Like, look, school children could run it better.
Yeah.
Really could. I don't know whose idea it would have been to do that, but like, they shouldn't be involved.
You don't feel confident in them as a company.
No, they shouldn't be involved. No, really not. I work with other companies in building sites and stuff, like, and if any one of them boys, they couldn't get a job. They couldn't get a job brushing up around the site. Like, some of them boys would call themselves important people around that place. They wouldn't get a job brushing up after tradesmen on the site. They really wouldn't. They're that unskillful.
Right. Yeah.
Because everything they seem to do just seems to go. What we've been doing around the mine, like, and there was, like, the police would have been standing there too. There'd have been cars coming in and out, no tax, MOT on them, bald tyres. One went out with a completely flat wheel on them one day. That was just a real, like, the trotters would be some outfit to have on. It really would.
Tell us a bit about the police. How do you feel they respond to what's going on up here, or what has been your experience?
My experience of the police was, right, see the ones out in the ground there, like, they were just sent out to do what they were told to do.
Yeah.
Whatever was going on in the barracks, nowhere or wherever, was a completely different ballgame. Like, they were part of the system.
Okay.
Making it work.
Okay.
Making it work. I was.
Why do you say that?
Because I tried to take a couple of cases against Dalradian, and to finish up, I give up. And I told the police, I give up on yous. There's no point in me telling yous anymore. What I had to do, if I got hit or got a threat, I went to my doctor and told him.
Okay.
I give up on the police. There was no point.
Yeah.
Because it was all one-sided. I was down there, my phone was completely twisted up, smashed. I was put to the ground, finished up in Derry Hospital. And
where was this now?
That's down at the main.
Down at the
main.
Right, okay.
The gates. And no case. No. There wouldn't be nothing for me.
Okay.
So, and then I got punched around in the shop one time.
What happened there?
Just this fella just started to box me, but I had to, like, we can't break the law. We had to keep our hands in our pockets at all times, no matter what. And the police was out about that. They come here about that at the finish. because I'd phoned them about it. Like, I got 2 awful blows to the head. One of them, the second one now, give me a right wee rattling. And I said, the policeman landed here, and he says, look, we're just giving them a warning. And I says, look here, there's lads going to jail for one punch. Stuff. Like, and you have it in video, the guy got hit twice in the head, like. And you're going to just get him off with a warning, like. I said, I'm not settling for that, like, But he more or less nearly got off of that, like. He very little, there was very little done on him.
Right.
Very little done on him.
Right.
So that's why I'd lost all on them. Like, I just absolutely no faith in them at all. And it wasn't the ordinary policeman or policewoman was out on the road. It wasn't them. It was whenever it went in, till whoever was running it.
Yeah.
Like, they're just, it's all politics.
Have you had many court cases?
I've had a fair few court cases and a fair few questions.
Yeah.
I never, ever broke the law. Kept my hands in my pockets. Never broke the law. So I wasn't determined to take anything. And I said I wasn't taking nothing. I didn't care. If I got 6 months in jail, didn't matter to me. I didn't care. Just see now, today, I'm in a different mind frame than I was at that particular time. That time, and we can, we can switch back to it, like, but that particular time, you're in a different mind frame. I never would have had the same feelings in all my life about what way I felt about that. Like, there was no half measure here. I was like, people was going the whole hog here, like, and that's about the court case. Like, if they took me in, if they were going to charge me for anything, I wasn't accepting it.
Yeah.
So I was just going to go there. And they knew I wasn't accepting it. And it was the same in the police station. I told them, like, I'm not accepting nothing here. So that's now there was you would have been running, I can't remember now. I've been in court right few times. Can't remember how many times I was in or how many times I was in the police station, but we got to know it fairly well at the finish, like, you were in and out fairly often, like,
If you rang the police to come out to you, would they come out quickly or?
Here?
Yeah.
No. Wife was in an accident there in Omar Road one time away back, like, and she waited hours. Like, if anything happens up there at all, the police will be out in 15 minutes flat, like, 15 minutes flat, as many police as they want out, like.
Right.
This here is absolutely just straight away. They're up there. No. That's the way that was just run, and that's just coming from head office that there has to be, if it wouldn't matter how many people or what was going on in Enoma, if anything happens out here, that has to be, like the first protest was down at the main, the first big protest down there, we had all went down, and they gathered up, there was police lying down the road. I never seen the like of it from the Troubles.
Really?
I've seen it in the Troubles years and years ago.
Yeah.
Lines of police alongside the road, lying in the ditches, waiting on the crowd of yo-hos to come down, and the first person down the road, I can't remember what it was, but it's a woman and a baby in the cot, So, like, the whole thing was stupid, like,
Yeah.
It was absolutely stupid, like.
Yeah.
It was nearly all women turned out that late, like, it's.
Yeah.
It was absolutely.
But
I wouldn't. I wouldn't fight with any Greencastle women. I just no warning. No, you don't. No. But I have to say that's her backbone is the young mothers of Greencastle.
Yeah. Changing the subject a little bit. You've been away or we've all been away really on protests in various different places. Cahal, do you want to tell us about some of those? Some of them were memorable.
Well, from the very start, we didn't have much. We had very little people about us. It was just a getting going thing. We would have been getting on what I call other buses. there was other campaigns going on different around the world and different things. So we had gone on their bus, and one of them was probably to get us to America and stuff, like, just with different groups. We joined different groups to get the word spread farther away. So we did that, like, and we would get on the bus and let them take us on, and then our own wee bus started to go bigger and bigger ourselves, what I'd call, like, just putting it nicely, as a bus. So everything was going very well for us. So we found with our own bus was getting bigger. Now, the buses we got on, we didn't ask anybody to do. We just went along with them, and they gave us their support. But now then, our bus was getting big, and we found out then our bus was that big. Other people wanted to get on our bus, and we thought this was class. This is class, like. So our group was getting bigger and bigger. So our buses got very, very big at the minute. And what we found, we had a bit of problems on the bus. We found out what whenever we were on other buses, we just sat and went along with whatever was going. But we found out on some of the groups coming in, they wanted to drive the bus. And it was putting us in a bit of a position, like, So there was a wee bit of a hip up there now, so we had to be careful on what was happening there. It's like because we're just against the gold mine, and that's all we wanted to be, like, to stop splitting up everything.
So why did they want to drive the bus? Or what do
you
think?
Wanted to drive the bus because then they could take their campaign on our name.
Right. Okay.
So it was they were going to advertise their campaign on our name. We didn't try and advertise our campaign on anybody else's bus.
Right.
We thought that decent.
Yeah.
And that's why we wanted to sort of keep our bus totally gold miner.
Yeah. Yeah.
But we found we had a wee bit of enough there on that particular thing, like that was just to do with the.
Was there some story about them using our banners and things like that? Or
it would have been. That's what I mean. Like, so we had to be very, very careful. Like, we had to be very careful with the whole thing. Like, it could have crashed. It could have crashed the campaign. So if anybody else is ever running a campaign like it, it'd be very important to look after yourselves. Like, as we always said, like, just this people in the area here will just try and keep it together. Just a single issue. A single issue. If you go across that border of single issue, you're splitting votes all the time.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, but that's what we found about that, So that's just what, if anybody else was ever running a campaign, just to be careful, just what's happening, and you will be surprised what the way it comes on you,
And was there something else you wanted to bring up?
No, that would have been it. That would have been it, like, anybody, like, they would understand what was happening there,
Okay. So. Well, we learned from our mistakes around that. I believe myself, and I think actually we rose much stronger as a result of it.
Yeah,
it was a good thing, but we didn't realize it at the time. Yeah, it's a good thing.
So all's good. All's good at the moment. Everybody's all 100% again, and that's the main thing. Right?
So Greencastle here is really sort of a side of a mountain, and it was sort of bog everywhere.
Yeah.
People would consider that to be wasteland. And how do you feel about the bog from when you were a boy growing up?
Hey, from cutting turf, like, I'm the last of our spade, what they call living. Fuck, I didn't think I'm that old, like, but I'm the last of our spade. Like, you would have called a spade, like, there would have been 3 men to the spade, like, for the turf.
You better explain this to the listeners. Because there's people listening to this from across the world, they won't have a clue what you're talking about.
Well, we would have cut turf up there, and there was 1 man on the spade. There was no man filling and no man shoveling or wheeling.
Okay.
So you had 3 men
to
the spade, like, So, and you could have had, I would imagine even in our bank, there might have been 2 spades that day, so that's 6 men.
Yeah.
But I'm the only one left of that all now, like, and I'm only 61, like, not that old, like.
Yeah.
And I can't believe it at times, but, I'll be often thinking, like, how we treated it. We cut off our sod, and we cut our turf out. And whenever we had the turf cut out, we put our sod back into where we cut our turf out of.
Yeah.
So the ground was being protected. It was never skinned.
Yeah.
It was always put back to where the way it was.
You
know, you might have had 2 or 3 turf out of it, but you still left it back.
Yeah. So it was able to repair itself.
It was repaired as we went along.
Yeah.
You know. But I know here, like, it was the moss, and like it's now today, like, even the moss is more precious than lea ground, like, you know. It's where all our ants or flies or like, and people is, I hope they don't think but like, we do need to keep all that life living, you know. Like, even I watched Clarkson one night, like, in Clarkson Peterhead, like, you know, and he even himself said now what he used to go out on the wipers of the car, like, you're wiping flies off steady, like, now you're not. So the whole industrialization of everything is keeping us down, like, you know, keeping, you know, we're losing it slowly, like, you know, but that's the other part of the whole thing too, but still going, like, you know, it's go. We can't. I don't know how it's ever, what way it's going to ever, you know. But that's another story again for another day. And I'm against the gold mining, but I'm not an environmentalist as such. Like, I don't, but I just see that end of it, like, you know. And that's how I would go back to the bog. The time we were at it, you had your bottle of tea.
What would be in the bottle of tea? But would it be a milk bottle, would it?
Hey, you can add this bit out or not, like, but I remember up there long on I'll buy. I'm not going to say he's dead and gone now too. They're all dead and gone. But we had one bottle of tea between the 3 of us. And if you ever remember the old boys, they used to have sweat things on the sides of their lips, you know. Whenever they'd be working, there'd be 2 wee white things out the sides of their lips. They're, and we used to take your big doorstep sandwiches. Now, I have to say, they were lovely big homemade sandwiches. And you'd get the bottle and you'd take a drink, and then he would take a drink, and the bottle was going around the 3 people. But it came round to me one time, and this big white thing was hanging on the side of the bottle. Oh, God. I said, no, I'm all right, I'm grand, I don't want, so I don't know out the tea. So I said to myself, I'm not going to get caught. I'm not going to get caught again. So I took a bottle of water with me the next day. And the same boy took a drink of my water and left the thing. Oh my God. But them was good days, like. Them was good days. So I often wonder what them boys would be thinking of the day, like, you know.
Yeah.
And they did love their land, their cows. Like, every cow, their cows would come up around us when we were cutting turf, and they'd have been tumbling the rectals, and they'd been scouting. Every one of them cows with a name.
Yeah.
You know, they're all.
Yeah. It was a part of
the sometimes you think
family.
That we've went backwards instead of forwards.
Come here, what age did you start going to the bog at?
Whenever you're for a walk nearly, you went up and you were sitting there if nothing else, like. And
then as you were growing up as a youngster, did you like going to the bog, or did you?
No,
you didn't like
whenever you were very young, it wasn't too bad, but then you got to that age, you didn't like it.
Yeah.
And then you got to the next stage, you knew you had to go.
Yeah.
For you had to be sitting Cahal, you didn't go, like.
Yeah.
So, and it was fairly enjoyable too, like, you know what.
How much turf would you cut in a day?
Would have been probably a spade. 3 men for 3 days would do you nearly for
the winter.
You know,
some going. And then how long would it take to dry it out?
Some summers, you know, they could dry out themselves, and other summers you could be at it for weeks and weeks and weeks, and raining and them lying in loads of water. And now it wasn't all joyful, like, you know, but it was hard work. It was hard work, like, you know, but
hard earned.
But simple.
And was it good turf?
Our turf was very good, very good turf. And that's it, like, you know, there's so many bogs over there where that whole ground was, Charlie was too, you know, like, there was ones over in Ryanair too, like. It's and it was that time, like, it was nice to see the whole community out at that particular time of the year. And if somebody was 500 yards away from you, you could hear them talking up there. Like, it's just so peaceful and quiet. If the wind was blowing your road, you could hear every word they were saying.
And would it be slightly competitive? Would you be looking over and seeing what they're cutting?
Aye, that could be all right. Aye, there could be an odd bit of that now. Aye, there could be an odd. There always is that been that bit in it, like, you know.
Did the whole community cut, more or less?
The most of them would have cut. Yeah, the most of them would have cut. That particular time, you weren't allowed. I don't know. I'm back. You weren't allowed to work on a Sunday.
Oh yeah.
Aye, but we got a UPP.
Oh, you're right.
Parish
Okay.
priest.
Yeah.
And he says you can work away as long as you leave me a lock of turf. Oh, the shields he was.
I remember him already.
So he started to work on Sundays.
Oh, very good. So, like, that's all part and parcel of what makes you who you are today. You know, you were reared up on the hill and the mountain and all around you, and your neighbours here. And this upland industry is coming in, and it will just decimate all of that.
Yeah.
And how does that feel to you?
Here, people would say to me, and I would hear them saying to other people, "Oh, you just weren't offered any money." And I can't say that. Like, I wasn't offered money for gold mining, but I was offered serious money for building ground here.
Yeah.
And my motto was, like, my ancestors lived here. I just didn't want to sell it. I didn't need it. My ancestor lived here. I just wanted to keep Greencastle the way it was. Like, if that makes any sense. Like, now, surely if somebody, a one-off house or something, you know, maybe, but not to sell the whole thing, like, you know. Yeah. Couldn't do it, like, you know. So that's what it meant to me.
Going forward, what do you hope for the future?
I think it should be good enough. I really do. Like, you know, for here, I think and people starting to catch on, like, the whole way of the thing, but I think things are going to be good. Like, I think they'll be good enough. Like, you know, their generation, it'll be okay anyway. Like, whatever happens. Yeah. Hopefully now. Like, you have to look on the bright side of it. Like, yeah. You know, after coming through what will come through, and you know yourself, like, you know, things isn't bad. Like, you know, like and another thing too, would have found out about wildlife and animals and all. I got an app on the phone. Maybe you have a wee Merlin thing. Yeah. I went out to that wee house one morning there and set 16 different types of birds. It's amazing. You know, so, like, we have that, like, we're still here, like, you know, it's not gone. Too late. Not too late, no. I think it's not bad. Like, we're blessed to live out here, and that's what I be fighting for. We're blessed to live in this country, in this area. Like, this is absolutely some area to live in here, like, you know. People have got your back here, like. So, it's a scenario. It's maybe a couple of years from now, and there's a few bigger diggers coming up the road. Let's go ahead. Hi, Miranda, I said to you before, and I'm going to tell you the truth. It's going to be, they're going to bother getting past the young mothers first, I'll tell you. They will. I seen them in action, honey. Like, you know, it's all right coming up fighting with some lad or some man or something, but whenever you start picking on a woman and her protecting her young, you're in bother, like. But, like, you know, and I always said that in my case, I would rather be dead and somebody else walking my grandchildren to school and saying, my granddad died trying to stop that, than me walking them to school and then saying to me, why did you not try to stop it? On that note, Cahal, thanks very much. What a great conversation. No bother. And I'll just finish there for a wrap up for Dalridian. That the people from the Sperrins will follow them to the water. Listening back to this podcast, it's not hard to argue that the essence of the folk of the Sperrins is alive and vibrant and very real, as told to us by Cahal. Here's someone whose family has lived for generations in Greencastle, making a sustainable living
and not needing a whole lot more from the outside world. Here's a man proud of his heritage and tradition, contented and standing firm on his ground, very sure of what is value to him and what he has to pass on to the next generation. Somehow, Cahal represents all that is right in the world, the very antithesis of predatory capitalism. What you've heard here comes straight out of everyday life, from a place living with real uncertainty and from people who are thinking carefully about what's at stake. If this conversation matters to you, if you think it's worth keeping alive, you can help by following the Sperrins podcast wherever you get your podcasts, or by sharing this episode with someone else who might listen. You will also find the podcast on all the usual platforms and on the don'tmindus.com website. That will be in the show notes. We'll be back again soon with another voice, another perspective, and the same questions we keep returning to. Thanks for taking the time to listen. For the air we breathe, the water we drink, and the earth that supports us, we hold the line.